Under what circumstances can a woman legally have two husbands? I stared at the two sleeping men beside me, my fingers hovering over my phone as I typed out an answer. When you let the younger version of your husband time travel to the present. The comments section exploded with people telling me to stop daydreaming. My fingertip lightly brushed the nose of the man on my right. Simultaneously, both men raised their hands to rub their noses. Time travel was nothing. The two of them had co-sensation. Waking up from a hangover, I found myself nestled between two Lachlans. The Lachlan on my left had fair skin, a hint of boyishness still clinging to him. The Lachlan on my right sported a solid six-pack, exuding mature confidence. The one thing they had in common was their identical faces, like twins. I slapped myself, trying to wake up from this incredible dream. The sharp sting on my cheek jarred me back to reality. It wasn't a dream. I looked down at the purplish marks on my body and my heart lurched. Did the three of us become a human sandwich last night? Though I hadn't figured out what happened, I recognized the man sleeping on my right instantly. He was the real deal, my husband Lachlan. A sliver of light peeked through the curtains. Lachlan's eyelids fluttered. He was about to wake up. In a panic, I threw the blanket over the fake husband on my left. As Lachlan's eyes opened, my hand was clamped tightly over the imposter's mouth, half my body pressed on top of him, pretending to be asleep. My position must have looked incredibly bizarre. Thankfully, Lachlan was a man of few words, not one to probe. Seeing me asleep, he got up to change. It seemed Lachlan had too much to drink last night as well and probably didn't notice the extra person in our bed. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, a wet, warm sensation spread across my palm. Was this guy a dog? I discreetly pulled my head under the covers. The fake husband was squinting at me. I shot him a look, a silent warning not to make a sound. Suddenly, Lachlan's clear voice came from behind me. If you're awake, get up and have breakfast. I quickly popped my head out, eagerly agreeing. I'll be right there, just need to get dressed. Lachlan didn't even glance at me as he walked out, closing the door. For 3 years, no matter how intimate we were, the morning after, Lachlan was always this distant. A tightness bloomed in my chest. The fake husband seized the opportunity, slipping out from under the covers and wrapping his arms around me. My sadness was instantly chased away. I'd almost forgotten there was another one. I pushed him hard. Who are you? Why do you look exactly like Lachlan? The fake husband's lips curled as he leaned in. You're Lachlan's wife, so naturally you're my wife too. It dawned on me. I slapped him on the back. You're Lachlan's twin brother, aren't you? Then last night, those two brothers were completely out of line. Rage shot through me. I stood up, ready to storm out and confront Lachlan. The fake husband's grip tightened, pulling me back into his arms. Seriously, your brain's stuck on one track, and it's a weird one. Clear out the junk in there. Simply put, I'm the 20-year-old Lachlan. 20-year-old Lachlan. Time travel. I froze. Just then, a knock came from the bedroom door. It was the 30-year-old Lachlan. Breakfast is ready. The knock sent me scrambling, grabbing the blanket to cover the guy next to me. The 20-year-old Lachlan intercepted the blanket, pulling me into his embrace instead. We're not exactly secret lovers. What's there to hide? He's Lachlan, and I'm Lachlan. I thought about it. He kind of had a point. What difference did it make which age Lachlan was? They were both Lachlan, so I calmly sat on the edge of the bed and started changing. A voice, laced with amusement, came from behind me. You're accepting this pretty quickly. Don't tell me you've always wanted two husbands. My body tensed. Of course not. Am I that kind of person? Even I wasn't convinced by my own words. Wipe the drool from the corner of your mouth, and maybe I'll believe you. Just as he finished speaking, Lachlan, who had been waiting outside, pushed the door open. Oh crap, breakfast is on the table. Eat it while it's hot. I'm heading to work. After giving his instructions, Lachlan closed the door and left. What was going on? Couldn't he see the younger Lachlan right next to me? If he could see me, do you think you would have slept so peacefully until morning? The Lachlan behind me sobered up a bit. To avoid any confusion, you can call me Lockie from now on. Lockie followed me to the dining table. I peppered him with questions. He answered each one patiently. It turned out, before Lockie time traveled, he was sleeping in his college dorm. He fell asleep, and when he woke up, there were two other people in the room. At that moment, I was with Lachlan, lost in our own world. He blushed as he recounted watching us for a bit, only to realize those two people were his older self and his wife, me, and Lockie discovered his older self couldn't see him, but I could. Wait, how did you know for sure that I could see you? I struggled to swallow a mouthful of fried egg. Lockie's ears turned bright red as he explained softly. While you were in the middle of it, you kept asking why there were two husbands, then you kicked my abs with your foot. What? A spray of egg shot out of my nose. I choked, struggling for air, but still managed to squeeze out a sentence to change the subject. Let's talk about how to get you back to your own time. The atmosphere tensed. Lockie raised an eyebrow, staring at me. Are you going to cosplay as Doryman and pull a time machine out of your pocket? Lockie, you could poison yourself just by licking your own lips, I retorted. After that, we silently finished the single portion of breakfast on the table. Lockie collected the dishes and went into the kitchen to wash them. Why is the 30-year-old me so gloomy? I looked at Lockie and shook my head gently. I don't know. In the 3 years we've been married, Lachlan's always been like this. What does he do for a living now? He's a medical examiner. Lockie frowned. How did his family ever agree to let me do that? His family? I hesitated before speaking. Lachlan's parents passed away 10 years ago. Lockie froze, staring at me, his eyes like those of an abandoned child. Lachlan only mentioned it to me once before we got married there. 'Cause of death, I don't know the details. After we married, our conversations never touched on that subject. I knew it was a painful topic for him, so I never asked. Lockie stood there for a long time, his face streaked with tears. I couldn't help but walk over and gently hug him. Suddenly, I realized that in Lockie's timeline, his parents' death hadn't happened yet. There's still time if we can find out what happened back then. When you go back, you can prevent it. Lockie buried his head in my shoulder, his voice muffled. You're right, there's still time. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I lit up the screen to a message from Lachlan. Have you finished breakfast? It was followed by an emoji. Lachlan rarely sent me emojis unless he was feeling really down. I instantly sobered up, pushing Lockie away to unlock my phone and reply. Lockie wasn't annoyed. He just waited quietly for me to finish. When I'm sad, he gets sad too. Wanna know why, wifey? I nodded eagerly. Because we have co-sensation. Everything I feel, he feels too. So that was it. Of course, what he feels, I can feel in sync as well. So last Last night, I slapped my hand over Lockie's mouth. I did not need to hear those details. When Lachlan got home from work, I rushed over to take the groceries from his hands. Honey, you must be exhausted. Let's cook dinner together tonight. Lachlan instinctively refused. I'll cook. You just watch your shows and wait for me. I didn't give up. Trailing him into the kitchen, seeing my persistence, he pointed to the vegetables he just bought. Fine, you can wash these over here. With that, Lachlan put on an apron and started prepping the other ingredients. I know how to cook. Lockie's voice suddenly whispered behind me, making me jump. I snuck a glance at Lachlan. He was focused on marinating the meat, not looking my way. Lockie smirked and took the vegetables from my hands, washing them meticulously. What are you scared of? He can't see me. The second Lockie's hand touched the water, Lachlan looked at his own hand in confusion. I immediately realized what was happening, quickly turning off the faucet. Only then did Lachlan shake his hand and go back to the meat. Almost forgot. Co-sensation. Lockie stepped back, his gaze fixed intently on me. Remembering my mission, I gathered my thoughts and asked Lachlan, honey, I was wondering, what happened to your family back then? Lachlan's hand stilled. He turned to stare at me, his eyes filled with a grief so profound it was as if my words had dragged him back into a painful memory. Beside me, tears streamed down Lockie's face. I panicked. I didn't mean to bring it up. I'm sorry. The kitchen fell silent. It was a long time before Lachlan seemed to come back to himself. It was the winter break of my sophomore year. We had a home invasion. It was right before the spring festival. I couldn't get a high-speed train ticket home, so I took a bus and arrived a day late. By the time I got home, the place was a wreck. A few cops were investigating the scene. They asked me to identify my parents' bodies. Lachlan's voice was calm, as if he were recounting a story that had nothing to do with him. I knew what this was. When a person suffers immense trauma, their emotions can just detach. Lachlan, I'm hungry. I said it tentatively. Lachlan quickly snapped back to the present. I know, you can go wait outside. Dinner will be ready soon. Lockie followed me out of the kitchen. Before I time traveled, I had just finished my sophomore fall semester finals. I quietly interrupted him. A robbery is about money. Why would they kill someone? Besides, when you were in college, digital payments were already common. Did your parents keep a lot of cash at home? Lockie picked up where I left off. No, their money was all in the bank. They only kept a few hundred in cash at H.